Hi there, this is Unmesh, and today we're going to learn a very interesting way to select hair in Photoshop using channels. And also I'm going to show you how to remove the fringes, which is of course a byproduct of selecting hair, so that you can put your subject in any background that you like. You can have any color in the background and the fringes will not disturb it. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here we are in Photoshop and I have two examples for you. So if you want to go ahead and download any of the photos shown in the video, make sure to go ahead and check the links in the description so that you can follow along. Alright, so the idea here is very simple. To select the hair separately from that of the body. As you can see, the body has a definite edge, but the hair doesn't. So we can make a separate selection of the body very properly using the method that we like, either using the quick selection tool or the pen tool, whichever is your favorite. For the hair, we're going to use that particular technique. Now, first of all, let's go ahead and select the body. Let's zoom in quite a bit, and we're going to use the quick selection tool. In the second example, we will use the pen tool. All right, select the quick selection tool and let's make a selection of the body. First of all, let's make a copy of the background layer just to be safe. Control or Command J, right? And simply paint over the body. Okay, very simple. Let's select the head as well. Don't worry about the hair right now. We're gonna make a separate selection of it. Don't worry about it so much. Okay, let's go back. That's too much. That's a pretty good selection. Now, all you have to do right now is to subtract areas of the hair. Listen to this carefully. Subtract areas of the hair where you can see the background. Okay, wherever there is a pass through, see through, delete that selection. Okay, so how to do that? Hold the Alt or Option. When you hold the Alt or Option, this changes into minus, and then when you paint, it subtracts from the selection. Okay, so simply subtract this area. You can see through, subtract this area. Keep the head, subtract this particular area. Okay, just make sure that the body is perfectly selected and everything else is fine. Okay, this is a pretty good selection and will do for the most part. It's pretty good. Okay, now once you have done the selection, just click on the mask button. Don't worry about the feather and the blurring right now. We can do that later. Just click on the mask button and there you have it. Right now you cannot see it because you have the background layer just as the same as the subject layer. So let's go ahead and put a solid color adjustment layer. We can put anything. So let's solid color and put a dark, let's say black. Okay, click OK. Now we need to make a selection of the hair. How do we do that? We're going to do that using channels. So first of all, let's come to this layer, subject layer. Let's name it subject for convenience purposes. Now let's turn off the mask by holding the Shift key and click on the mask. This will turn off the mask. Now let's go to the channels. Now in the channels, apart from RGB, you will find red, green and blue, and the mask that you created, which is of no importance right now. But have a look. We have a red, green and blue. What do these mean? And why are they in black and white? These are just representations, okay? Now, just for a second, let's understand what it actually means. When you click a photo with your camera, it captures an image and it's comprised of three colors, red, green and blue, okay? An image is comprised of red, green and blue. If you look at the red channel, the bright areas have more red in it, the dark areas have less red in it. Okay, so as you can see, if you're in the red channel, the lips are brighter. If you're in the blue channel, the lips are darker because the lips have more of a red than blue, right? As simple as that. Now these three colors combine in different proportions to give you the image. For example, in this area, the hair, the red is too much, but if you look at the blue, it's not so much. So there's a mixture of red, a little bit of green and very less blue, which will combine together to give you this colored hair. So three colors combine together to give you whatever color your image is of. All right. Now, and these are just representations. Now, if you're seeing this not in black and white, but in colors like red, green and blue, you need to make a change in the preferences by going to Edit and then Preferences. And inside of Preferences, let's go to Interface. And inside of Interface, make sure that this is unchecked. If this is checked, show channels in color. And if you hit OK, and it will show the channels in color. Okay. If that's the problem, you can always go ahead and revert back to black and white by going to Interface. And then make sure this is unchecked. Click OK. All right. Now your job is to find out which channel has the most contrast between the hair and the background. Okay, which channel has the most contrast between the hair and the background. As you can see, blues, some of the hair is not selected, okay? But greens, more of the hair is selected. The objective is to get the hair selected or not selected, okay? Red, as you can see, the hair is very nicely selected, okay? And this might differ from image to image, hair color to hair color, okay? In this example, as I can see, if I select red, most of the hair is very nicely selected. So for me, red is the perfect channel, okay? Now, make a copy of the red channel or the channel which you choose, whatever channel you choose. In the second example, it will be different. Let's drag it and drop it over here. It makes a copy of the red channel. Now, our job is to get the background completely black and the hair completely white, which means the hair will be selected and the background will not be selected. Or do the opposite, get the hair completely black or the background completely white, depends upon example to example, image to image. In this example, we'll get the background completely black and the hair completely white. Okay, how do we do that? Hold the Control and press L. This is for levels, or you can also go to Image, Adjustments and Levels, whatever you like. You can use the shortcut as well. Now, let's zoom in quite a bit, and our job is to get the background completely black. Let's take it from the left to the right. This is fine. If we take it too much, have a look. If we take it too much, it will fry up the hair. We don't want that to happen, right? So we have to find that balance where the hair is not fried up so much and it still looks good. At this point, we think a good outline is created and it looks pretty good over here. Here it needs a little bit of correction. We can do that later. Don't worry about that so much right now. Okay, this much is fine. That much is pretty much good over here. The outline is created. We can go a little bit further, and from the hair side, we can just take it a little further like that and get most of the hair selected. And that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good selection of the hair as well. Don't go overboard. Don't fry up the hair. That's fine, I guess, for me. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, this area might need a little bit more correction. Hit OK. And you can always go ahead and select the lasso tool, and for this particular area have different levels. Add a little feather to it by going to Select, Modify, Feather, and we can add a feather of, for example, say 10 pixels. Okay, that's pretty good. And let's zoom in. Let's see whether the feather is added. Okay, the feather is added. Now let's go to Image, Adjustments, and then Levels, and we can do this area separately. That's pretty good. And we have to just take care of this area. Okay, and we can always go ahead and put the feather from the beginning as well. So let's keep 14 pixel feather and let's go this area and Control or Command L for levels. Let's try. Okay, hit OK if you're satisfied. We're gonna have to blur this area out, Control or Command D. Now we have a pretty good selection of this hair and the background, and we have a contrast. So here's what you have to do. Hold the Control or Command, click on this. So right now the hair is completely selected. Let's come back to the layers and select the mask. Mask will automatically open up. If it doesn't open up, you know what to do. Hold the Shift and click on the mask. Then what you have to do, carefully take a brush, okay, make it a little bigger, make sure the foreground color is white. Now what is the concept of mask? White are the areas which show up, black are the areas which do not show up. So if we're gonna paint over here, these areas will show up, right? So simply just paint over there. Just like that. And that way, we will get the perfect selection of the hair. Just simply paint. If you paint once, it will have a certain level of opacity. If you paint over again, it will be more visible. For example, you can see it over here. If I paint once, if I paint twice, it will be more visible. See, if I paint again, it will be even more visible. So don't make it so visible that the background starts showing up. Have that balance. If you want the marching ants to go away, and if it's disturbing you, you can always go ahead and press Control or Command H, H for hat, and this will hide it. This will not take it away, this will hide it, okay? And you can always bring it back by pressing Control or Command H again. It brings it back. press it again to take it away. So it totally depends upon you. If it's disturbing you, you can always take it away by pressing that shortcut. Alright. As you can see, the edges are very jagged over here, and we can take care of that later. Don't worry about it right now. Just worry about the hair. Let's press Ctrl or Command H again. Let's see if all of the hair is brought back. Yep, that looks pretty good. The selection looks pretty fine. Okay, let's paint a couple more times over here. Now once you're satisfied, press Ctrl or Command D. Now all you have to do, hold the Alt or Option, click on the mask. Let's check whether the mask is proper or not. So as you can see, a couple extra areas have been selected. We can take care of that, and these areas are missing, and we're gonna fill up that area. Take the brush, make sure the foreground color is white, and let's fill up these particular areas which are left out over here. Let's fill up this one. Let's fill up this. Okay, that looks proper, and let's delete these particular areas. Now, if you take black by pressing X, you can always press X to toggle between the foreground and the background. If you do that, okay, I pressed X. Now you can just erase it, but if you do erase over here, it will completely erase the hair selection. Let me give you a tip. If you change the blend mode of the brush from normal to overlay, watch what happens. Black is selected, and if I paint now, it still goes away, but it doesn't get inside the whites. Okay, it doesn't erase anything which is not closer to black. So if you have black selected and if you try to erase it, it will paint on everything which is closer to black, but it will not paint on any area which is closer to white. So you can easily go ahead and remove these extra areas nicely, like that. And you don't have to select every strand of hair. It's fine if you don't select every strand of hair. Over here, it needs a little bit of correction over there. Okay. It tries up there, but we'll take care of that later. Here. Over there. Okay. That's pretty cool. And it's looking pretty nice. Now, wherever it's frying up, we can blur out that area. If you look at the image, if I hold the Alt or Option again, bring out the image again, the image has a shallow depth of field. As you can see, it's blurring out. The hair which is far away, it's blurring out. Even if you look at the background, if I hold the Shift and click on the mask, turn off the mask, look at the background. It's totally blurred out. It is a shallow depth of field image. Now, let's bring back the mask by holding the Shift and clicking on the mask. What we can do, we can simply blur out, not the hair, but the selection. Let's go ahead and hold the Alt or Option, click on the mask, and select the blur tool, this one, the blur tool. You can increase the strength to 100%. Let's keep it at 100 and zoom in and simply blur out the areas which are frying. Okay, just like that. And that's pretty cool. Let's blur out some areas like this. And this will be all right. It's like, have a look. Let's blur this out. It's like it's blurring out away as a result of shallow depth of field. Alright, let's zoom out. Let's bring in the subject. Wow. Now that's called a perfect selection. But as you can see, the background right now is completely black. If you change the background color to somewhere around, say something like this, the fringes show up. Now that's very ugly, and we need to take care of the fringes, okay? Create a new layer. Simple, let's create a new layer and let's change the background to somewhere where we can see the fringes. Okay, so let's have something around this red. Now we can see the fringes. Hit OK. In this layer, you can name them fringes. Okay, now hold the Alt or Option, bring the cursor over these two lines between this layer, the subject layer, and the fringes layer. See, it changes to a square with an arrow. Click. This means that we are clipping this to the subject layer, which means if I take the brush and if I have any color over here, if I try to paint over it, it will not go out of the boundaries of this one. If I break the clipping mask by holding the Alt or Option, clicking on it again, it will go out. But if I turn on the clipping mask by holding the Alt or Option, clicking on these two lines between them, it will limit them. Okay, so let's go back and let's zoom in. And you have guessed it already. Just take the brush, sample this color over there, and simply paint over this particular area, over the outside, not the inside, just the outside, okay? Just the outside. Sample this, just paint over the outside. And make sure, whoopsie daisy, you have not changed the blend mode from overlay to normal. Make sure you do that, it's very, very important, okay? Let's clip it again, okay? Sample this, sample the nearby areas, and then simply paint on the outside properly. See, if you paint on the inside, this problem will occur. So make sure you just paint on the outside. For the inside, I have a different solution for you. Let's sample, for example, this particular color. That's nice. Okay, that looks pretty good. And sample this. Just paint on the outside, not the inside. And by the way, if you're wondering how am I taking a sample, you can take a sample by holding the Alt or Option, and when you hold the Alt or Option, the cursor changes to the eyedropper tool, and then you can click in, you can take the sample and release the click, and then you can just simply paint. Okay, that picks up that color of that area. Hold the Alt, pick the sample, and then simply paint. Now the hair is pretty much ready, but if you look, the inside is looking a little strange over there. Okay, so this area is a little strange. We can take care of that. Okay, let's zoom out. Let's see whether the hair is okay. Let's turn off the mask and let's turn this off and let's see how the hair was over there. It was looking a little strange. Let's turn on the mask and let's turn on this. Okay, the insides, that's what we need to take care of right now. So for the inside, you can use the clone stamp tool and make sure you're in the fringes layer, and let's sample this particular area and let's simply paint on the inside like that. Now this is quite a task, but it will pay you off in the long run. Be very careful, you don't have to paint in such a way that it shows as if the textures are repeating. See, it's not looking nice over there. It is quite a task, so you have to be really slow and patient about it. Don't do anything where the hair is looking great. Okay, now that's pretty good. That's pretty okay. But as you can see, there are a few places just like this area where the hair is not looking great. So what we can do, we can go to the mask and we can just erase off that area. So sometimes you have to do things like that, where not every strand of hair is looking great. Just erase it off like that. Okay, that's fine. That's pretty good. Okay, simply just erase it off. All right, now all you have to do, it's looking great. It's looking okay. Now let's bring that, press Ctrl or Command A, Ctrl or Command C, and then Ctrl or Command V. Paste it over there, and let's just delete the red layer. Okay, now let's go ahead and add a curves adjustment layer. Click on the adjustment layer icon and choose curves. Now, as you can see, the shadows are brighter, so we're gonna take the shadows a little brighter like that, but it's affecting the background as well. So we're gonna make a clipping mask by clicking on this clipping mask button. It's gonna create a clipping mask over there, and we're gonna make it brighter just like this. And that looks fantastic. That looks all right. Okay, we can take away the details by taking this a little bit to the right like that and increasing it. And there you go. There you have it. You can always go ahead and crop it, and this edge is not looking right. Yes, I was going to show you that. So let's come to the mask. This edge is not looking right. So simply blur it. Simply select the blur tool and just blur it like that. Now that looks pretty good. Let me show you one more tip, very interesting tip. If you want to make it very smooth, here's what you can do. You can just select this area like that, okay? Just like that. And simply go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. Watch this. Gaussian Blur, and increase the blur, okay? Now this might sound very strange, but do it. Increase the blur to somewhere around, say, keep a high number, 26-ish. That's fine, or maybe 19. Whatever is your favorite. Let's make sure everything is even. Keep it 21, hit OK. Then what you have to do, make sure the selection is still intact, okay? And then go to Image, Adjustments, Contrast, Brightness, Contrast, and then simply increase the contrast of this area. So you get a smooth, sharp edge, okay? Now make sure, let's try use Legacy. We need more contrast. Have a look at the edge. You get a very smooth edge over there. So that's one of the tricks which I sometimes use. Hit OK, and there you have it. A very smooth, at the same time sharp edge. Let's hold the Alt or Option and bring it back. And there you have a pretty nice edge and a pretty nice background. You can always shift the edge if you think the edge is a little selecting the background as well. So you can shift the edge as well by simply just open this up. And let's make a selection of this area. And let's just take it to the left just a bit by using the arrow keys like that. And that's pretty much fine. Hit Control or Command D and then take the brush and just fill in this area. This is a very quick fix over there. If you want to do it, you can do it. Alrighty. Alt or Option, click on it, and that's pretty good. Let's see, we might have to just delete this extra area over here, and that's fine. You don't have to have a perfect edge over there. It's not invisible. All right. So there you have it. I think I see a little more of an edge over here. Okay, that's great. So have a look at this. It's all perfectly fitting the background, looking great, and that's all what you needed. Now at this point, what I would personally do, I would crop it a little bit by pressing the C and then just clear it out, and I'll just crop it a bit from the top like that. From the bottom, I wouldn't select so much, just like this, and it would be a perfect selection for me to till this one, and I will move the subject. Hit enter, and I'll just simply move the subject because I don't like the composition so much. I'll just, using this tool, just simply move the subject like that. But if I do move the subject, have a look, the fringes are not moving. So make sure you make a group of all of these three by holding the Control or Command, selecting the other two, or you can also hold the Shift key, select the top one, it will select everything in the row, then press Control or Command G, and then you can move the subject, just like that. I like it that way. Okay, that way the color is looking all right, and there you have it, the subject and the background. At this point, you might see some, this is not looking right, the edge is not looking right. So you can always go ahead and open up the fringes according to the background. You might have to make some changes. You might have to take a sample from over here and paint it over there like that to make it match. Take a sample. You might even have to just take a sample from here and make it even brighter like that. So you might have to do things like that depending upon the background that you have. Alright, so there we have the subject and the background looking perfect. You can have a black background if you want to. And there you go, your desktop wallpaper. So this is the before. We masked in the body separately and the hair separately using channels and then painted on the fringes, and therefore, this is the after. Alright, it's time for us to jump to second example, and in this example, you'll see some changes. You'll see some differences as opposed to example number 1, because in this case, the hair is darker and the background is brighter, so some things will be in reverse. First of all, as in the previous example, we're going to select the body first. You can use the quick selection tool or the pen tool. We're going to use the pen tool for the second example. So what I suggest is using the regular pen tool, not the curvature pen tool. The curvature pen tool is fancy, it's easy, I understand that. You can use that, but I prefer the regular pen tool because it gives you much more control over the path that you're drawing. Alright, let's first of all zoom in quite a bit and let's start from over here. Okay, so simply you can just click a point and begin. And by the way, I have a dedicated video on mastering the pen tool in 30 minutes. If you want to know how to use the pen tool, the ins and outs of the pen tool, go ahead and watch that video first. That's going to be very useful, especially if you're compositing in Photoshop. Okay, so simply just click a point over there and click another point and drag. This creates handles. Click and drag. Click and drag like that. And if you want to adjust it, hold the Control or Command and you can adjust the points if you like. You can adjust the handles if you like. Okay. And if you want to break a handle, for example, if you clicked and dragged over here, okay, and you make another point over here, you cannot just, it's a corner, you need to break it. If you want to break it, hold the Alt or Option, bring it to the handle, and simply just break it like that. You can break it to your heart's content. Alright, and then you can adjust it and move forward. Just like that. And you can take a complete loop over the subject. I forgot the line. So you can make a complete selection and then loop in and come to that. And just make sure, just like the previous example, that you don't select any of the areas where there's a hair gap where you can see the background, okay? So I've already made the path. So I'll just go ahead and delete the path. Let's go to paths. Let's delete the work path and let's select this one. I've already made it. And then you can make a selection out of it by holding the Control or Command, clicking on it. This makes a selection. Now, again, if you want to know how to use the pen tool, watch that video first. It will clear out things for you. It will clear out paths and everything, every doubt that you have about the pen tool. All right, watch that video first. Okay, now we have made a selection using any method that you like. Let's click on the mask button. Okay, this time we didn't keep the background layer, the copy of the subject layer, and it's totally upon you. You can keep it for comparison purposes to look at the before and after. If you don't want to keep it, don't keep it. It's upon you. All right, let's go ahead and create a solid color adjustment layer, white solid color adjustment layer. Click on the adjustment layer icon and choose solid color and any color that you like and put it behind. Okay, there we have it. Similarly in this one, let's turn off the mask by holding the Shift key, click on the mask button and then actually the mask, and then let's come to channels. All right, this time let's see which has the most difference. The red has the least difference this time. So let's choose green. No, not much. Blue has the most difference as opposed to red as it was in the previous example. And this time the hair is black and the background is brighter. So let's make a copy of the blue first by dragging it and dropping it over here. Control or Command L or Image Adjustment Levels. Then let me show you something. You can click on this eyedropper tool for the white point and click on the outside area, the gray area. It will make it bright automatically. It actually moves the slider to the point where it completely becomes white. Now mind you, we are doing just the opposite in this second example. We are making the background white and the hair as dark as possible. Okay, we can always reverse it, right? So let's do it. Don't do it too much. It will start frying it up. So maintain that balance and let's keep it somewhere around this level. That's perfectly fine. Hit OK and then do the same by holding the Control or Command, click on it, make a selection of it, come back to layers, select the mask. Okay, now the change is over here. Now the background is selected because the background was white and the hair was black. Hair is not selected. We need to inverse the selection because in the previous example, the hair was white. Okay, in this example, the hair is black, so the background is selected and the background was bright. So to invert the selection, press Control Shift I, Command Shift I if you're using a Mac. Okay, you can always go to Select and then Inverse. The same thing. Okay, take the brush, make sure the foreground color is white. Press D to reset the swatches and then make sure the foreground color is white and then simply paint. Just like that, just as the previous example. Once you're done, press Ctrl or Command D and now let's check the mask by holding the Alt or Option, click on the mask and let's check it. It's pretty good. It's an amazing mask. Now as you can see, these selections are very sharp, so we need to blur it out. So how much to blur? Let's turn off the mask for a bit. Okay, so how to turn off the mask? Hold the Shift and click on the mask. This will turn off the mask, but you can still see the mask. Let's get out of the mask by holding the Alt or Option, click on the mask and turn off the mask. Hold the Shift, turn off the mask. See, this is this much blur. Okay, so you have to apply this much blur over there, and the hand is pretty sharp, so you don't have to apply blur so much. Okay, so let's go back to the mask again and let's apply the blur by using the blur tool and let's blur it out a bit, this area. Be careful over the corners because this area is sharp. There we go, we have blurred that. Is there any blur over the hand? Let's see. Let's turn off the mask again. First of all, let's get out of the mask. See, it's very soft, it's looking very nice. Let's turn off the mask. Let's see if there's any blur. There's no blur. We don't have to apply blur, but if you still want, let's apply a little bit of blur over there. Let's decrease the strength to 20% and let's simply just paint once, just like that. Let's zoom in. Just a little bit of blur, just to make sure that they're not very sharp. Alright, now that looks pretty fine. Let's zoom out, hold the Alt or Option, click on the mask to view it, and that's pretty good, looks amazing in a white background. But if you change the background, watch, if you change the background to somewhere around, say, bluish color, it begins to look a little really bad. The hair, the strands kinds of mess up. So this area looks fine, the hand, everything, that looks perfect, but the hair, it needs a bit of correction. So how do we correct it? Similarly in that one, click on the new layer button. Let's create a new layer. Name it fringes if you want to. Okay. Whoops, the spelling, fringes, like that. And let's clip it to this one. Take the brush just on the outside. Remember, on the inside, we're going to use the clone stamp tool. On the outside, we're going to simply paint. Okay, let's take a sample from this area. What you can also do, you can also change the blend mode of this one to darken. What that will do, that will apply the paint only in those areas which are brighter than the paint that you're painting in. Make sense? No? Let's just simply paint. Okay. Make sure you don't paint so much on the inside because if you do, the hairs become a little flat. Paint very carefully. Let's zoom in and paint very, very carefully. Remember, you're painting flat, so if you paint so much, it becomes a little flat over there. So be very careful about that. Let's check the mask a little bit. I need to check the mask. See, a lot of the background is selected over here. So we need to take the brush. You know what to do. Black selected. Change the blend mode from normal to overlay. And then simply just remove these particular areas. Decrease the flow. It's so much, 13-ish. That's fine. Remove these particular areas. It's kind of so much selected over there. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Over here, as you can see, the extra. Any place else? No. That's perfectly fine. Let's come back. And let's come back to the fringes. Let's start painting. Let's zoom in. And this time you gotta be really, really careful while painting. Increase the flow. And you can also decrease the flow for enhanced control. Alright, not so much flow, decrease the flow, 25-ish. That's fine. Don't have so much flow. Let's increase the flow a little bit. Let's zoom out and let's apply this thing called the clone stamp tool. Right now it's time for us to apply that. Okay, let's take a sample from over here and let's zoom in first of all, and we're gonna apply that very carefully because this is essential. Okay, so let's take a sample from over here and let's try to apply it over there. You can try changing the blend mode back to normal. Let's see what kind of a change it makes. It makes it better. You can try both blend modes, darken, sometimes even lighten depending upon the hair color. But in this case, I think normal looks good. Again, I cannot say, it totally depends upon image to image. So you're gonna have to play around and see which one looks good for you. This is the place where we have to paint. So you have to paint in places you need to paint. You have to use the clone stamp tool in places you need to use the clone stamp tool. It's let's zoom out from time to time to see whether that's looking great. So have a look before, after. It makes a ton of difference. So this is work. Yes, this is work. Here we might have to paint. So let's see if painting improves that particular area. then the clone stamp tool. Let's zoom out, let's see. This area is pretty fine. Before, after, we have taken care of this area, and this area needs to be taken care of. It's quite a task, but we can do it. We can do it. Seems like we have done it. There's a little bit of brown patch over there which we need to take care of. But that's not looking bad. That's not looking as bad as it sounds, but that's pretty much good. That's done. Have a look at it. Have a look at the before and after. So this is the before. This is the after. Look how much of a difference we can make just by doing that. Now, as you can see here, the hair strands are appearing. So we might have to paint here a little bit, or take a sample from some other area which has the hair in that particular direction and just simply paint like so. Or you can take a sample from over here and then just rotate it just like that. How to rotate it? By holding the Alt, Shift and the right arrow bracket key. So this will rotate it just like that. See, it's rotating. See, once it matches, you can just simply paint it like that. And that will be fine. There you have it. You might have to paint it with a darker color because the brown is not suiting it over there. So let's choose this brown. Okay, and there you have. There you go. It's done. So let's paint this one too with that color to match. Okay, it's done. It's taken care of, and there you have it. Before, after. Now you can choose any color that you like. You might have to paint a little bit over here as well, like that, a little bit darker over here, and you get the complete picture. And there you go. Okay, now that is perfect. So you can choose any color that you want. Just double click over here and choose any color. It will look good in whatever color you put it in. Right? So you can choose green if you like, and there you have it. That's how you can select hair and remove the fringes. See, the biggest challenge is not selecting the hair. You can do it also using the selected mask and whatever is your favorite. But removing the fringes, see, that's where the challenge lies. So that's pretty much all for this video. That's how you can select hair and remove the fringes in Photoshop. Just a quick little recap. Let's do a quick little recap. First of all you have to do, let's come to example number 1. First of all, make a selection of the body. As in this one also, we made the selection using the pen tool. Then what we did, then using the channels, we figured out which channel had the most difference between the hair and the background. Okay. Now we made a copy of that channel. For example, in this we made the red copy. Then we held the control or command and clicked on that selection, and we came to the mask of the subject and painted back in the areas of the hair. As in this one as well, we painted back in. It looks good in white background, and in that one it looked good in black background, but as we changed the color, it didn't look quite as good. So what we did, we created a new layer called fringes, and then we clipped it to this one. How did we clip it? By holding the Alt or Option, clicking on the line between the two, and then we took the brush, sampled colors of the hair and painted on the outside, and then what we did, we used the clone stamp tool to paint on the inside to match it properly. And also along the way, I talked about refining the mask. For example, in this one, we went to the mask and these areas were frying out. So we selected the blur tool and blurred it out, and in some areas it was selecting extras. So we took the brush, changed the blend mode to what? To overlay, and once we change the blend mode with the black, we just simply painted on that particular area. We can also use white, depending upon, let me show you. You can choose white and paint in some extra hair, and there you go. That's what you can do. And we also blurred some areas over here because this area was very sharp, this selection. So we went to the mask. Using the blur tool, we blurred this area, and that's how you refine the selection. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this video was helpful, and if this was, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe, ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss a thing. And by the way, if you're wondering why am I not showing my face or not appearing in videos, it's because I'm sick. Still, I'm making videos for you because I just miss making videos. I'll be back in 15 days, and till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.